Let's get down to business. We got this young lady who's with us the whole month of October. And I tell you what, she loves her favorite food. I know you guys know by now. Is what this Tom and Susan Forbes, she loves tacos. Oh, she's an amazing lady. We had a great time last week with her. Halftime wins. That's what her topic was. Halftimes win. Every Monday in October. She's 5 foot tall. She says that's the fun size. I love her for that. Was in a locksmith business, decided she want more for her life. And she said, listen, I've been bold my whole life, moved out on my own. I did this by my own. I did this by myself. See, that's what makes entrepreneurship. They think outside of the box. And I want to say we love her dearly. Here she's back with us again, this bright way to start the week off. None other than Regional Director, Miss Roxann Corralejo.
Mr. Thomas. Tacos are my favorite food, and I love that you always announce it, and everyone will know. So if you see me, make sure to bring me tacos. But I am currently in the state of Missouri, and I ordered some breakfast tacos, and they just weren't the same. So I must say, it's not all tacos. I'm going to make that right now clear. Texas tacos are definitely a lot better. California tacos, actually Arizona, a lot of other tacos are better, unfortunately. But thank you so much. I thoroughly enjoy these calls. They are so stinking beneficial to me, so I know they have to be beneficial to you. And these calls, I love the fact that you put this together, Mr. Thomas, with so many different speakers, so many different personalities and messages. And it just seems like every time I jump on, that whoever is on the call just has something that pertains to me at that moment. I have no idea how, I don't know why, just like church. Man, I've been away from San Antonio for a month. I jump in online and the pastor is talking and saying this message exactly what I needed to hear at that exact moment. I don't know how that works, but it does. And this call does the same thing for me in my business. It just speaks to me so much. So thank you. I really appreciate you and every single speaker and everybody that's listening, taking notes on this call. I do want to point out that we have about 70 people on the call right now. So this is kind of the topic that I'm talking about today, is these halftime wins, because sometimes at halftime is where people start falling off. They start getting discouraged. So I definitely want to talk about some halftime wins. Last week, all week, I noticed we had over 80 people on the call most days, because it was right after the national. Now we're a week later and we're already losing 10 people. What's going to happen next week? What's going to happen towards the end of the month? So thank you all for being on this call. This is so important that we're still tuned in. We're not giving up. And that is my topic. So last week, a couple stories and a couple examples that I talked about last week. Are we ready to hear about some halftime wins? Do you guys want to hear about these? Sam Foster, let's go. Yes. That's what really gets us pumped, is hearing these stories. And for me, definitely knowing that I can relate to people, is that what helps me. So last week, if you didn't tune in, I'll do a little bit recap about some of the topics or some of the examples I shared. One of them was my own, is when there was a challenge that was announced last summer. I came into that challenge 10 days late with zero productivity, and I still managed to knock that challenge out of the park. And one of the things I want to talk about with that is it wasn't the win. So we want to play to win. Absolutely. We want to play to hit these goals and get there. But that is not really why we're playing. What we're playing is a result of that win. So I was able to complete this challenge, but what was the result of being able to complete the challenge? Not the benefit that I got, that was the challenge, spending time with Mr. Kupas in California at his home. The result of that win, and this wasn't even talked about, is that we had the biggest event we've ever had in San Antonio with Mr. Kupas as a guest speaker. He did not come once, he came twice. That was an unseen result. No one ever anticipated that, expected it. It wasn't announced. It wasn't what was going to happen, but it did because of that win. This challenge can do so much for every single one of us. Yes, we want to hang out. We want to party with Mr. Thomas on his dime. Absolutely. That sounds amazing. But what can result out of that? That's what we want to focus on. We're not focusing on that win like, oh yeah, we can hang out beachside. We can do that pretty much anywhere. It's going to be so much more fun with Mr. Thomas. But the results after that, being able to spend that quality time with him, who knows who you're going to talk to, who knows who you're going to meet, who knows the experiences that you're going to experience and the people that you're going to be around. that you might not have had the opportunity to before. So don't just focus on what the win is. Don't focus on what he has proposed. Focus on what's going to become after that. There's always something after. That's what's really going to propel our business. That's what's really going to grow you. The second example I gave was my beautiful, amazing niece. The lovely, amazing girl that she is, she declared that she was going to score a goal. And sure enough, she scored it within the last 30 seconds of the time we were there, right at halftime. They blew the whistle when halftime started, and she got that goal in. We had to take off, and it was the winning goal for her team. Awesome. What do those two stories have in common? One of them is that we started off with 0. The score was 0-0 for my niece's game. I had 0 productivity. 0 seems to be a little more attainable sometimes. If we're starting from scratch, sometimes we just need a clean slate. Let's go, let's roll with it. Now we can get ourselves in the right mindset, have that right mental shift, and be able to knock this goal out. But what happens if we're not at 0? What happens if we're below 0? What happens when we're negative? What do I mean by that? Sometimes when we feel like we're behind, if we're not even at 0, we're not starting from scratch, we are so far behind, we feel, all right, it's a little discouraging. I'll get the next one. I'm sure he'll be doing another challenge sometime in the future. No, I'm going to be beating this in your head all month long that there's still a chance and we still have time. So what do I mean by negative? True story. When I heard about this challenge, I was so excited. I messaged my back office report immediately. I was stoked. And then right after I sent that to Mr. Thomas, I started enrolling in my team. Because guess what, you guys? We're not talking about 1,000 points by ourselves. No way. Is it doable? Absolutely. But do we want to do it by ourselves? I don't. So I know a lot of my team wasn't on the call, and I started making phone calls. I'm still in my car. I had somewhere to go, and I'm like, I'm going to have to be late. I got people to call. So I'm calling people. I'm calling brand new people that's not even signed up yet, but that I knew we're going to. And I'm like, hey, this is what we have. Let's do this today. Let's sign you up because we can start today and have you go with me. The fact that he is allowing this RD and RC to go, we know that we're not doing this alone. Make sure, if you haven't already, enroll your team. It doesn't matter if they start today or start tomorrow. They still have a chance to get there. And guess what? Knocked out a few hundred points already just by promoting an RC, just by getting there. So I start calling people. I start enrolling my team, and a couple of days go by and I get some alerts. All right, everybody's excited. We have some activity. I love to see that. I go to my back office and check my back office. Well, this just so happens to be the end of the month. What happens at the end of the month? We have a purge. So I go and I'm excited. I check my back office. I've been in this business for 4 years, and a lot of my beginning customers are internet. People used to call me all the time. Hey, are you the internet girl? And I'm like, yeah, that's me. You don't know my name. I don't care. I'm the internet girl. Call me when you want internet. Well, we know that is not a lifetime service. So I had this purge happen, and sure enough, I am below the image I sent to Mr. Thomas. And I'm like, wait a minute. So now I need more than 1,000 points where everyone else needs 1,000 points. This isn't cool. I am not at 0. I'm not at a clean slate. I am negative. So I take another screenshot and I sent it over to him, crossing my fingers, saying, I hope he counts this one instead. But this purge is going to happen every month, and it's going to happen in our business. I have made that shift to focus more on those lifetime residuals, because why the heck not? These purges have been crazy. I just have to make sure I do more. So you just have to make sure it doesn't matter where you are. If you have just started, if you're at 0, if you're negative, make sure that we still can focus and do more than what's being purged out and have our focuses in the right spot. So that's what I had talked about last week. That's kind of where I was. I do have a couple stories I want to share that it's sometimes we are starting behind the crowd, behind everybody else. I don't know where everybody else is in this group, but sometimes we might be in that negative like I had started. So I do have one video. I have a couple videos I want to show. Are we able to bring the first one up right now, Mr. Clemens?
All right. Dang, I want to knock her.
She ran out her shoe. Go to Leia. Go Leila. Go Leila. Go Leila. job, Lay Lay. Let's go, Lay Lay. Let's go, Lay Lay. Let's go, Lay Lay. Let's go, Lay Lay. Lay Lay. Let's go, Talaya. Come on, mama. Let's go, Talaya. Let's go, Talaya. Let's go, Talaya. Let's go, Talaya.
She ran out her shoe and had it.
Let's go.
She lost her shoe.
You guys, first thing I want to say, if you don't have Sam Foster in one of your front screens, you have to. His excitement, I just absolutely love. It gets me pumped. He's rooting her on. I know he's seen this and he goes, go Lele. And it's so awesome because how many of us, and I hate to say that, if I was that far behind in a race, I would have been like, dang, well, I missed this one. There's going to be a next one. I'm just going to have to wait to the next one, right? I know there are so many people out there that might feel that way, but she did not. This little girl said, nope, I'm still going to run my race and I'm still going to do my best. It doesn't matter if you are so behind the crowd, just like how this challenge started. I don't know if every single person on this call came out the gate and started hustling and everybody just knocked out 50, 70 points just in the first couple days. And I ended up negative. There is still a chance as long as we keep our head in the game, as long as we believe in ourselves. And that goes back to having that undeniable faith in yourself, knowing that you can accomplish it. It doesn't matter where anybody else is. They can be a few hundred yards in front of you and you're still going to catch up and you're still going to win. Believe it, speak it, know it. Like my niece, we're still going to get that goal in there. Next story I want to talk about is someone I've got to see, which I was so privileged of, but who here knows Cody Lee? Does that ring a bell to anybody who Cody Lee is? Cody Lee. So I saw him on America's Got Talent. It is one of the clips that I always see in my reels, and he is just phenomenal. But this is a situation where this individual, he is blind and he's autistic, and he also has another disease. He is so far behind where a lot of people are. He needs around the clock care. He can't care for himself. Yet he was able to come on this. So before I give you any more information, I kind of want you guys to see him in action. But this is someone too that might have thought, there's no way that there's a chance for me. There's no way that I can be able to complete something like this, complete these goals that I have. So can you please real quickly play that second video I have?
Welcome to America's Got Talent. What's your name?
I'm Cody.
Hi, Cody.
I'm Cody Lee.
How old are you?
I am 22 years old.
Yeah.
Who are you, miss? Who are you?
I'm Mom.
Oh,
I'm
hi,
Tina
Mom.
Lee. Hi, Tina. How are you? What are you going to do here for us today?
I'm gonna sing a song for you on the piano.
I love it. Tina, tell us a little bit about Cody.
Cody is blind and autistic.
Wow.
We found out that he loved music really early on. He listened and his eyes just went huge. And he started singing. And that's when I was in tears, because that's when I realized, oh my gosh, he's an entertainer. So, yeah. Go on, Cody. Go on.
I've been to so many places in my life and time. We're alone now, and I'm singing this song to you. But when my life is over, remember we're together. And I'm singing a song to you. From every mountain and swim every ocean, just to be with you.
Cody Lee, you have got the golden buzzer from Gabrielle Union. You will be going all the way to the live shows in Hollywood.
I love those clips, especially this one. So the reason why I wanted to share that today is because what my topic right now is talking about, sometimes we might be starting behind everybody else. Well, how many of us have felt, and I know I have so many times, and I know I will always continue to feel like sometimes life is just out to get me. There's always something happening and just so much weight on top of me. I could be on my way to a PBZ and get into a car accident or get a flat tire. And I'm like, oh my gosh, what is happening? And then something else happens and something else happens. I feel like that is the story of my life, that it's just avalanching. So about right before this challenge actually started, I went through a couple things. I had lost my stepdad, which was really upsetting for me. And I tried to get back on focus and it was really difficult. And shortly after that, I caught COVID. And so I was down and out and really sick and had a cough for 6 weeks. Nobody wanted to be around me. And right after that, I broke my toe. And this is within like a 30 to 45 day span. And I'm like, oh my gosh, what is going to happen? That is typical for me. And I am still optimistic, always bubbly, always excited, especially when I get on calls like this, because I'm around an environment, I'm around a community. So I want you guys to make sure that you reach out to people on this call. If you don't talk to anybody on this call, shoot them a message, get your number. Make sure you surround yourself with a community that can pick you up in times like that. That is the only way that we're going to be able to stay focused. It is difficult and for me impossible to stay on track when I feel like I'm alone, especially when stuff like that is happening. So I actually recently, amongst the many trips I've been taking this year, one of them was to Las Vegas, and I saw America's Got Talent. If you guys know anything about that show, they go to perform for a live show in Vegas. That's what I got to see, the winners live show. So all the winners are out there and it's so phenomenal. And they have the show. It's great. You have anywhere from singers to acrobats to knives throwing, dangerous stuff. It's so great. And Cody Lee is on this stage and he had his dad walk him out. And to see Cody Lee live in person, another standing ovation in this arena, hundreds of people, and he is doing this on a regular basis for now. This is his living. So he's out there, gets a standing ovation, and it's just so great to see his personality and have him. He's jumping on stage, super excited, so motivational. He's saying, if I can do this, anyone can do this. I'm here right now. You can accomplish anything. And this is Cody Lee saying this to the whole crowd. It is so phenomenal. I'm so upset I didn't get to record it for you guys because people, Nazis walking around like, no recordings. But it's so great. So if you guys are in Vegas and catch a show, I absolutely recommend America's Got Talent. It is so uplifting right after that. And I'm like, I know I'm here to be on vacation, but I want to work. When you surround yourself with people like that, it is hard not to want to get to work, especially when you're feeling that the whole weight of the world is on you. So these are my examples today. How do we get there, especially if we're feeling far behind and it's just so hard to reach? Let's break it down. So I want to share a little bit of a story. Speaking of communities, we have a mastermind group with a few of the ladies on this call. And I'm not going to give names because I don't want to give out too much information where people's business is, but there's someone that declared that they're going to be a regional director by the end of the month. And they need 300 points. And we were roughly just kind of putting some points together. So she's like, my 300, I can do this. I can do this. And I said, absolutely. Well, there's over 30 days in the month, break it down. So we're looking at what? 10 points a day. That's it. And she's like, wait a minute, that's it? Are you kidding me? And it clicked for her. Okay, 10 points a day. That is it. 10 points. Is that a little more manageable for our own thinking than 300 points? Absolutely. So I want you guys to figure out exactly where you are, our call to action. So last week, I had you guys make a declaration, whatever it is, whatever your goal is. Now we're going to break that down. Whatever your goal is, break it down to weeks, then break it down to days and see where you have to be. And I know stuff comes up all the time. And when that happens, if we're not able to complete it, if stuff comes up, whatever it is, guess what? Those points just roll over to the next day, no biggie. And if we know we're going to do something, let's get ahead of the game and get more points now. It makes it so much more manageable for us and so much easier to complete. This is how I actually was able to complete my RD run, is because I was able to break things down. I said, how many people do I have to call? I broke that in half. I'm going to, get 50% of that might become my customers. And then 50% of that might stay. Actually long enough for me to complete my goal. Because we know if they cancel right away, that's not going to get us anything. So put these numbers together. I want that to be your call to action on this call, is to figure out where you want to go from the declaration we made last week. break it down, send it to people in this group, send it to me, put it in the chat, know where you have to be to reach that goal. Because if you don't have a plan, we're not going to get there, and everything is going to feel like it's so hard to reach, so hard to manage. So that is what I have today. I'm going to give it back to you, Mr. Thomas. I appreciate you. Thank you so much. And I'm really looking forward to the rest of the calls this week.